Welcome to the Chico Creek estuary. For more than a half century, this stream's been stuffed into box culverts under Highway 3. It may not be long before this becomes a 400-foot-long bridge instead. I'm going to tell you about the possible $55 million project freeing Chico Creek on this week's Beat Blast. Stay tuned. Welcome back to this edition of the Beat Blast, sponsored by the Admiral Theater. Story number one today: when the state built Highway 3 in the early 1960s, crews dumped fill dirt 50 feet high in some places over two 8-by-8-foot box culverts. Now, state and tribal leaders say that to fully restore fish passage here, all should be removed and a 400-foot-long bridge installed instead. But the project will not come cheap. It's Kitsap County's most productive salmon stream. The fall chum runs are so thick you can almost reach out and touch them. But because barriers like the culverts at Highway 3, Chico still loses an untold number of fish each year who can't make it upstream unless the tide is high. Estimates range as high as 15%, according to the state's Department of Fish and Wildlife.
It is a barrier to adult fish, and it's certainly a barrier to juvenile fish. And we want our fish to be able to move back and forth throughout a watershed at any time and at any size.
Under a federal court action brought by a number of Washington state tribes, the state has a duty to remove the fish barriers. That could help not only with those fish populations, but others that consume them. Not only humans, but the orca whales, whose numbers have dwindled in Puget Sound. Remember when they visited Kitsap in 1997? Their furthest destination was indeed the waters of Chico Bay near the estuary. But at places like Chico Creek, the state faces a financial quandary. The project will cost likely north of $55 million. A new bridge will be needed not only for the highway's travel lanes, but for the Chico interchanges on and off ramps. The legislature will once again pony up millions earmarked for fish barrier removal. I spoke with State Senator Tim Sheldon, the state senator for the area that includes the Chico Creek estuary, and he's confident the money for this project will be included in the legislature's budget this year. A contractor should be selected this fall, according to transportation officials. Story number two: the recovery of Chico Creek has actually been years in the making. Millions have already been spent removing fish barriers at Kitty Hawk Drive, and this summer county officials plan to take out the culvert at Golf Club Road. Kitsap County Public Works and the Suquamish Tribe are joining together for a $4.4 million project that will replace the narrow 36-foot culvert with a 140-foot-long bridge, opening up miles of habitat for salmon to spawn. Story number three: from his days as a Kitsap County deputy prosecutor to his time as top deputy in former State Attorney General Rob McKenna's office, Brian Moran has called Kitsap County home. The Trump administration recently appointed Moran U.S. Attorney for Western Washington, the federal prosecutor for 19 counties, including his home. He says he'll be nonpartisan on the job, focusing on prosecuting drug traffickers and anti-terrorism efforts.
I always love being a prosecutor and working with prosecutors where it's a very simple job if you look at the mission, and it's just to keep the people of the district as safe as possible. And you can't ask for a better mission. You know, it's funny, I'm from Vermont, and I'll always be a little bit Vermonter, but the longer I'm here, the more I become a Kitsap native. So I look back, and if I could pick one lucky break in my career, it was that I got to land in Kitsap County and learn at the feet of so many talented people. There's only one thing I have left to do. So I've been a county prosecutor, I've been a state prosecutor, now I'll be the U.S. Attorney. I'm going to round out my career by going back to a city attorney and trying misdemeanor cases again. So
there you go.
I gotta get the forfecta. I guess that's what it is.
Yeah. Story number four: when Central Kitsap Middle School students returned from spring break this week, they moved into a new school, completed with money from the 2016 bond by Central Kitsap School District. The new school is part of a $186 million complex that will welcome high school students this fall. But students from the middle school got a sneak peek before spring break.
My name's Scott McDaniel. I'm principal of Central Kitsap Middle School. Today we are in front of Central Kitsap Middle School, the new Central Kitsap Middle School. I am super excited about this building. This is truly a gift to our community.
It's going to be the choir room right here, and then on the other side is another one. Okay? There's some stairs right behind you. Those stairs lead to our library.
It's kind of surreal. It's so nice and modern looking. It smells like a new car.
And you have more room too.
Our community has given us 2 great schools under one giant roof. Just around 200,000 square feet, and you have some great additions, including a auditorium, and then high school gymnasiums, athletic complexes that are state-of-the-art.
Very modern looking.
Yeah, it's also really cool looking because it doesn't even look like our school.
The other piece that is a real highlight for me are the communal learning spaces that we put into the middle school, as well as our career and technical education building has some really exciting features for our kids.
It's just very new and it just feels nice and like fancy.
Yeah.
Over the next few weeks, our staff is moving into the building and unpacking and getting ready for students. On April 8th, which is the Monday after spring break, our students will have their first day in the building, and we will be up and operational from that point forward.
It feels like it's too good to be true because, like,
Yeah, very like surreal.
yes, that's a good word.
And finally, story number 5, what's on tap for your weekend? Sponsored by Silver City Brewery Tap Room. The Kitsap Live Steamers return for the 2019 season this Saturday at South Kitsap Regional Park, 3100 Southeast Marbeth Lane in Port Orchard. Bring the little ones between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. for free train rides, though donations are welcomed. That's our show for this week. Thanks to our sponsors, and special thanks to those of you who subscribe to the Kitsap Sun. We could not do this without you. See you next time.